What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Listen, if you clicked on this thumbnail, you already know what you're about to get. This is a Bad Boys 2 review, and this is the review before coming out, before the Bad Boys for Life, number 4 that's coming out. So what I'm going to do is, if this is your first time here, like, subscribe, share. On this channel, we do podcasts, we do reviews, we do snack time with Nerdy. I'm Nerdy if you don't know. But a lot of other things. Check the playlist is the best way to do it. And if you like some of our merch, right, as you can see, I'm donning a inspired Bad Boys. I call these my Bad Bears shirt. Links is in the description and all that good stuff. But enough of all of that. Let's get to what you came here for. And what you came here for, ladies and gentlemen, is the review. All right, so check this out. Nerdy Nerdettes, we're back with Bad Boys 2 review, and we pick up 8 years after the original movie, right? And this one does not disappoint. And when I mean it doesn't disappoint, it does not disappoint at all. We're still with Mike Larry. We're still with Marcus Brunette as they embark on their new, and I say new adventure, new crime, whatever, new big case, whatever it is that you want to do, right? Michael Bay has come back to direct this, and of course, he doesn't disappoint, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't, okay? Listen, the film starts off familiar, okay? We already know how this goes. We know the first one came and introduced the guys, and then it let us know what type of tone this was on, right? I told you guys from the get-go, Bad Boys reintroduced the way that we look at buddy movies, right? Because even if you look at it, 95 was Bad Boys, and then the next buddy cop movie that we had to come out after that was Rush Hour, and you saw the way that they pushed the lines with Rush Hour. So keep that in mind, and let's just keep it pushing, right? So, like I say, this one starts off with the big bad of the movie. Instead of showing us the two detectives, Mike and Marcus, they start off with the big bad of the movie. The big bad of the movie is this guy named Johnny Tapia. He is the king of Miami. He runs Miami. It's his city. Allegedly, it's his city, right? So what he's doing, basically, ladies and gentlemen, he's moving ecstasy, meaning he's moving ecstasy, exos, okay? Those are little pills that you pop, and they give you this high, right? I have a story about what happened to that one time, but we won't talk about that here today. Okay, anywho, but he's open scene, showing how he moves his ecstasy and money back and forth from Miami to Cuba to let you know what's going on. And it's pretty ironic that he's moving his drugs through coffins, right? If you ask me, for the obvious reason. If you don't know, take a look and see what ecstasy does, and you'll understand why, right? Once we see that, we move on to our guys. Our guys are now part of its tactical narcotics team. Just a fancy word for the narcotics division, and it's going to start off, it is what it is. What can I say? It's a fancy word, okay? And of course, we got to go big because it's a new movie. We got to go big. They're going to start off with the biggest bust in history. That's what they finna do. They finna make this the biggest bust in history. And they start off with comedy right away. They do not disappoint. When we get to this, it's like, first you see this scene, they let you know, hey, we getting our mission. We finna go get these drugs. And it's looking like something out of Call of Duty or something like that. It's like, oh my God. We got people coming up out the water. We got people in the air. We got people coming through the woods. And then we have two guys in the middle of a Klans meeting, right? And voila, right out with the funny. They take off their hoods, and it is funny from that point on. The dialogue that they give, the fact that they start saying, my favorite saying, this movie has a lot of quotables, so bear with me. I am going to say some of them. So, of course, right after they yell out their power, of course, they come out of their robes and they go, "Blue power, mother lover," and it's like, whoa, okay. This is how we going. They got the guns drawn, and then they start singing the song, "Bad boys, what you gonna do?" Right, and you just love it. You gotta love it. If you don't love movies, then you don't get that, right? That right there, that pulls you in, all in, because it's a familiar feeling. It's the guys. We see them. They're still on their Bad Boys kick. They're still feeling that way. And it's like, wow, okay. So now they seem like they got everything under control. But these high-tech Call of Duty guys, they having static with their microphones, and they can't get, hey, red team, come in. Come on, hey, red team, come in. But of course, because once the Klans members realize, hey, these guys ain't got it under control, they ain't got nobody really coming, they're going to take their shot. One person's going to try to run, that person's try to run. Then when that person tries to run, somebody grab Marcus, and once they grab Marcus, oh, let the comedy begin. You understand what I'm saying? The dialogue that Mike has in this movie may be underrated, but the back and forth that he does with the criminals, with the criminals, while his partner's life is in danger, is nerve wracking. Is like, I don't know. I'm on the edge of my seat, and then magic happens. Right, Mike and Marcus do their thing, and we get our first shootout of the movie. And the first shootout of the movie does not disappoint. The tactical team moves in. We got guns. We got guns ablazing. Everybody shooting. We got shotguns. We got bullets flying. We got chemicals going. Then of course, all this back and forth. Somebody ends up getting shot in the buttocks. Okay, when I say somebody gets shot in the buttocks, it's Marcus, of course, right? Marcus gets shot in the buttocks by not only none other than his partner, Mike Larry. And you're like, oh wow, somebody shot you in your butt. Oh man, I can't believe that. That's that. We know who shot him. And then of course we have a new Reyes and Vargas. We got new ones, right? Same jokes to pile on from the previous movie, the first one, right, where you had Louise and Vargas, played by two different actors or whatnot, right now. But this movie is based heavily on the relationships, right, and therapy, which is an interesting take. Seeing that this is a 2003 movie, and of course, I don't want to say that this is probably, but it was interesting to see how these guys had different takes on what therapy. While one was banging their therapy out, and the other one was literally banging their therapist out. It's one of those things, right? It was a breakthrough. It was working. It was they were moving forward, okay? But enough about that, right? Of course. So after that scene, of course, like I say, heavy on the therapy. That's going to be a theme throughout this movie. And then, of course, we move on to Marcus's home life, which is now improved and better because now he's living by water, a body of water. He has a pool, above ground pool, which is going to play into a bigger joke later on throughout the movie. And then we get introduced to Marcus's sister, Sid, who is played by Gabrielle Union. If you know me, if you've listened to the podcast, you know Gabrielle Union is not one of my favorite actresses at all. But in this movie, I'm going to give her props, okay? She did good in this movie, not the spinoff. This movie, she did great, all right? Life seems to be better for Marcus, and it's good. Of course, Mike shows up. And when Mike shows up, because, that's what Mike does. Mike shows up, and right on time, comedic timing in this movie is impeccable. When I say it's impeccable, it's impeccable. Shows up with the donut, realizes, oh, hey, Sid is here. Then we kind of find out real quick, Mike and Sid got something going on, and Marcus does not know anything about it. That's the crazy part, ladies and gentlemen. He does not know nothing about it. But on the flip side, Marcus is thinking about ending his partnership with Mike. So because they both are holding secrets from one another, and it's going to build to some animosity between them later on in the movie. This is a good callback, foreshadowing. If you guys know, I love foreshadowing. I love good setups, because then when you call it back later on in the movie, you're like, oh, that works quick. Then of course we quickly find out that Gabrielle is working for the DEA, and she says she's in town for vacation, but really she's here on business, DEA business. Our big bad of the movie, Johnny Tapia, one of his guys that he. Hey, what's up, guys? It's your guy Nerdy G here. If you're loving the content that you're getting, please hop on over there to Nerdy G shop at fourthwall.com and pick up some of this merch. This merch is inspired by the Bad Boys movie that is coming out today. There's a lot of more things over there. Please go check it out and see and grab it. Back to the video. Let's go. He actually works with. She's gonna flip and exchange some money for him. So of course, this is where we get into our first big scene, big shootout scene. And when I say the action scenes in this movie, Michael Bay, all I can say to you, my guy, is bravo. Strange, you did what you had to do, buddy. These scenes are off the chart. And when I'm talking about the first big one, man, I'm talking car chases. I'm talking they throwing cars. I'm talking car wrecks. I'm talking shootouts. I'm talking boats. We on the freeway. We watching people get thrown from place to place. They hanging off the car parking lots, and they going around in circles, and people they getting shot with shotguns and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. We using big 18, not 18 wheelers. We using what's that, a Suburban as a battering ram, just so that we can get out of here. The street gang. Now let me tell you something about this street gang. They going to do a hit just to get some money or some drugs. At first, it seemed like probably about 3 or 4 of them, and then it seemed like 50 of them because they was killing them left and right, and they just kept on popping up like one of those bad. Just like where do y'all keep coming from? Why are these? How many people are in this gang? And by the end of this, y'all are not gonna have anybody. I'm telling you, it was like 5 at first, and then it jumped to like 30, 40, 50. And I'm like, geez, Louise, these guys. And then the fact that these guys got skills, because I mean, one of them hopped in the car, hopped in the 18 wheeler, and started driving the 18 wheeler while it was like 3 or 4 of them on the back, and they started launching cars from the back. Then they had one car where they had it like hooked to a chain, and they was using it as it was swinging and swinging and swinging and swinging. And it was like, oh my God. Like, this is just the first action. This is the first big action scene in the car, the back and forth with the car, with Mike zooming in and out. And of course, we had some issues with the car because there's always car jokes in this, because from the first movie, of course, we've updated to a Ferrari, and Marcus ends up shooting the dashboard, and so of course he's gonna have to pay for that. That's like $21,000, but that's something totally different. But we're gonna move forward, right? Great action scene to like the first big action scene. That scene was like crazy. One that you can watch over and over. Even if you're just flipping the channels and you see it, like that will make you stop. That's how good that is, just the way that it was shot and everything. But moving on, because that's just one of many amazing scenes that action scenes that you're gonna see throughout this movie. And then of course the captain is back. Of course he's in therapy, so he has this whole feng shui thing going on. He's still losing his mind, and then the whole movie and the whole movement of the what we love to believe is woosah. 1, 2, 3, woosah. Yeah, those good moments and all of that good old stuff. But like I say, this movie plays heavily into the team's relationships. It's not a burden on the movie at all, but what it does, it adds depth, but also it's entertaining enough to keep you pulled into the movie. So but even in between the big action scenes, when they are getting serious and they are talking about their relationships and they are going through the therapy thing, you kind of lose the therapy piece, but you can appreciate what they're doing because it's still comical, because there are some funny one-liners in here. And then there's enough action scenes in between. It's like give you a little bit, then give you a lot of bit, then give you a little bit, then give you a lot of bit of action. Can't say enough about the action scenes in this movie. They're over the top, believable, fun, funny. Like, I mean, we get to a point in the movie where there's a whole dance scene where they're talking to the informant, Mike's informant, who gave him the tip off about the biggest drug buster in the world, right? But they go to this guy's shop, and of course he's a Haitian individual, and goes to his shop, and then they want some more information. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. My bad. It's not great, but it is what it is. So they start doing this little dance. That was funny. He ended up giving them the information. Even that little scene, it was reminiscent of the store clerk, convenience store scene where they was like, give me some of the bubblicious. So that was one of the ones that I caught on to, right? And then right after that, they go from that little scene, and then they automatically go over to this whole shootout with Blondie Dread and his gang inside of the house. Is a classic scene in any movie. It is a classic scene. The he goes, who's in my house? The devil, mother lover. Oh, the devil's not welcome either, man. Listen, when you hear that, I remember busting out laughing so hard in the movie theater. I still laugh when I was doing my rewatch. I still I still laughed. It is just that good. That scene is classic, and then the way that that whole deal transpired, and then Marcus trying to do his woo side, trying to do his therapy, and trying to apologize to that man, apologize to that man, and then he kicks the crap out of him. This is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is the type of buddy movie that you want to watch. This is the type of buddy movie that you put out there and you go, wow, like this is amazing. Okay, like I said, all kinds of classic scenes in this movie. We move on to the next scene, right? We move on to the next scene. And I'm gonna say this is before, but we after we get done with the Blondie Dread deal, we have a whole ordeal where we go into a video store, where we go into the video store. And if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna try to see if I can give me a clip to put it in here so that you guys can like see just a little bit of this. But God, the store scene is okay. Hey, we trying to find out what's going on. Oh, okay, we got it. They got funerals, so we got funerals. We got funeral homes where we see this, and then all of a sudden it turns into a porno, and then the guy comes and he rips it out and rips the cords out on the video store, but it ends up putting the feed to where Marcus went to go sit down, and he's pouring his heart out to Mike, and everybody in the store can see it. But of course, it's taken out of context, and it seemed like it's some type of homosexuality going on because they're partners. And I guess some people may see the what I want to say, they want to probably see cops partnerships sort of kind of like that, but of course it's not that what it is. But yeah, it was a classic scene. It did, talking about using the word flaccid, and it's just a great scene. It's funny, it's humorous, and I mean, hey, what do? You can't. There's nothing that you can do. But that's a whole nother deal, right? We move on from there. Of course, then there's the whole taking my daughter to the prom skit. It did that right there. That was just like, hey, those guys who have daughters, those guys who know that when you're going to meet a girl and you're going to pick her up for prom, you know that she's going to have some crazy uncles or fathers that's going to probably try to scare you or whatever the case may be. That's that. Don't forget about the bug problem. Oh my God, that's another great scene where they go into Johnny Tapia's house to bug his house, but they're thinking that they're going to get roaches, but actually they went in to basically deal with a rat problem, and then of course there was a lot of rat love to go around to see how Marcus Martin, Marcus Martin, whatever you want to call him, how he was so squirmish around the rats, and just the way that he sold that scene. It just makes you go like, wow, okay, I'm immersed into this. I can tell this is the actual person. This is how he would act in that instance. It is just like comedic gold. You can't ask for a better person to play Marcus Brunette, because I believe that he is sold on the character. He knows who the character is, and if any of that was improvised or whatever the case may be, he nailed it. Of course, right? We're gonna move past that, because then right after they get out of Johnny Tapia's house, of course, where we go, we get to where, listen, hey, we find out that they need to. It's another car chase, okay? I told you this movie got car chases, got tons of action. It's action packed. It's like a little bit of dialogue, a lot of action. A little bit of dialogue, a lot of action. Okay, we get to a part where we go to a car chase scene where we end up taking a car from Dan Marino. Okay, they have a guy, they have a witness in the trunk. They got dead bodies flying over the place from while they're chasing these hearse. While they got these empty John Does just flying all over the place. That in itself, just the way that ended, and there a lot of shoot 'em up, bang bang guns, explosions, cars. Like I say, it is just a mess, and we ain't even got to the best. We haven't even got to the best action scene yet, and this is where we're at. Okay, right? Because even after that, we go to the funeral home, and what we do is, we have another classic scene where Marcus, and a lot of this sounds like it's coming off the back of Marcus, but don't take for granted what Mike has done, because Mike's dialogue throughout the movie, it was good, but Marcus, the comedic timing and everything was put on him, and he delivered overly delivered. Especially so once they got to the funeral home scene, that scene with them trying to wreck, and they're like, "Oh, I got too many blemishes on my deal, X, Y, and Z." But then Marcus is accidentally takes an XO pill, and if you know what taking the ecstasy pill or XO pill, ecstasy pill, if you You know what that's like? It gets weird, and it got weird. They went to they got the pictures that they needed. They ended up going to the captain's house, and of course, let's just say Marcus ended up in his boxers. And then, of course, classic saying, "Hey, Mike, call the wife. Tell her I'm on the way." Okay, that in itself, because he got shot in the buttocks, and he had some issues when it came to some nerve damage. But now he's able to grab an erection because he was taking an ecstasy pill. No need to break it down, but you guys get where I'm going from there. But all those things, that was great. That scene in itself. So now, hey, we go back to the TNT. We go back to the headquarters. Now we got the warrants. We can go put a stop on Johnny. We finna get Johnny Tapia. Johnny Tapia is like paranoid already. Why does these people know where I'm at? Why they know what's going on? X, Y, and Z. Let's get them the heck out of here. So of course, what they do? What do? They do what they do. They do what they do best, right? They corner him, but Tapia's a little bit faster. So basically, what he ends up doing, he ends up getting Sid, and he takes her. He takes her to Cuba because he's like, yo, I want my money, I want my drugs. You need to bring them to Cuba, and it's about to go down because now this is the way where we set up the big finish, right? And when I say we set up the big finish, we setting up the big finish. We finna go, we finna switch gears. We going to Cuba, ladies and gentlemen. When I say we going to Cuba, we going to Cuba, and there's gonna be more guns. There's gonna be more fights. There's gonna be more explosions. It's gonna be iguanas. There's gonna be cats. There's gonna be Hummers. It's gonna be flies. There's gonna be flying Hummers at that. It's gonna be landmines. It's gonna be all kinds of crazy things. Y'all just don't understand. This is amazing. Michael Bay, you son of a gun. You son of a gun. The way that you finished this off, this was amazing. I'm saying amazing, not amazing, amazing. That's what this was, right? And then of course we get there, and then this just kind of shows how all the departments and stuff came together at the end. We talking about the DEA, we talking about special ops, we talking about the underground Cuba team. In on some, they even dug tunnels. You understand? They dug tunnels under this man's house. Okay, and then they show you this scene, this ironic scene. This Johnny had this painter in his house painting a mural, and the artist painted him and his goons at the Last Supper. If you guys don't know what the Last Supper is, Google it and you'll find out. And he's like, yo, you'll see the irony in that. And that is like, wow. Of course, they're using the cats and the iguanas to set off the alarm so that they can turn the alarms off so they can get in or whatever the case may be. But once they do that, once they cut them off, boom, we're going to kick this thing off with an explosion. What we do, we popping up out the grass from the tunnels that we dug, and we're gonna let it off with a little car first that's going to blow up some of the army military that's there, and then we're going to pop out the little hole in the ground, and we're going to send a rocket launcher straight to the house, to the little security house, and we're going to explosion, and everything's flying everywhere. Now we got bullets flying everywhere. We got folks popping out of caskets, shooting shotguns. We got grandmas toting shotguns. We got every gun from Call of Duty, GTA 5, Battlefield, whatever you want. Everything is present in this gunfight, and it is going crazy. Heavy artillery, the military coming. It is ridiculous. Like, you name it, it's in there, right? Of course, we pulling grandma out. Grandma had to catch a two-piece because the gun jammed, and she's like, my son is going to cut you up like little fish. Oh, my God, grandma. Like, you knew that he was bad like that. Then, of course, we blow up the house. We had to get him out. But Johnny's like, oh, hell no. You don't come to Cuba. You don't come to my home. You don't blow up my house. No, we want y'all. I want y'all dead. So, of course, they start chasing him. Now, this is where we get to the flying Hummers, because the Hummers now we got a Hummer. Now we're trying to get up out of here because because Johnny got the military on him, right? Johnny got the military on them, and because he got the military on them, working for him, it's like DEA, special ops, underground team. We got to get y'all. We got to get y'all out of here. We got to get y'all over to the naval base that's over there in Guatemala, Cuba, Guatemala. You know what I'm saying? We got to get them over there, because when we get over there, we got a little safety. We got a little safe space, or whatever the case may be. But that ain't really what happened. So what happened was, it took us a while to get there. So we got the keys to the Hummer because we had to get up out the house before it blew up. So now we in a Hummer. Marcus and Mike and Sid is in a Hummer, and then we got of course we got one of the little guys in there, and then we got Johnny Tapia. Now listen, I'm not gonna pick here, okay? I'm not gonna nitpick, but there's a blue truck, look like a little Ford some truck. Now this Hummer was flying through drug houses, and they was blowing up. When I say blowing up, they was explosions because they was cooking up drugs and stuff. So when you cook up drugs, sometimes that chemicals mix and they just start exploding. So we got this big old Hummer just, going down the hill and just knocking all these houses down and they blowing up. And then Johnny Tapia and his goon is in this little blue car. There's about 4 of them in there, and they just driving along. And I'm thinking, how in the heck is this car still making it through? But it made it through. I don't know. I guess them cars are built a little bit different in Cuba, but that's neither here nor there, right? Then of course what we do, we ended up at the minefield, right? We ended up at the minefield, right at the naval base. The Navy trying to tell them, hey, stop, or whatever the case. Sid and Marcus is where they're at, and they stop and they're like, I pay my taxes. Like, y'all in a shootout, and you telling the people, the Army folks from the Navy, from America, that you pay your taxes. And yeah, that's just funny to me. So then, of course, what we do, we get into the prettiest. Oh, before we get into the prettiest toss ever, we see an iguana explode, which lets us know that we are in a minefield. Okay, we're in a minefield, and yeah, the iguana exploded on the screen. Good job, Michael Bay. Okay, and then also too. So then from there we get the prettiest toss. Like, put your gun down. And he throw Gabby, Sid. She throws her gun, and it hits the landmine. Now they could have kept the dialogue. I'm gonna throw it right here next to the landmine. You didn't have to tell us. We would have saw the gun land on the landmine. We would have saw it spin up and boom, blow up in front of the dude's face, and then voila, right? That happens. Distraction. Marcus does his roll. He shoots. He puts one right through Johnny Tapia's head. Oh my gosh. Johnny Tapia falls down. He's doing all angelic or whatnot. And when he falls down, of course, there's about 3 or 4 landmines right there. And then half of his body explodes. And they do a real good job because they only left the feet. And, of course, now our heroes have saved Sid in the end. Not so quite, but that is the movie. That is the movie in a nutshell. And, of course, because we got to end on a good joke, right? Of course, we take it way back to Marcus's house where Mike has replaced his pool, and of course, still right there on the water. They're singing, they're doing their banter back and forth. Mike is okay. Mike is okay. As Marcus, is he okay with him and Sid being together? And then it's like, yeah, that's cool. They say they're gonna break up or whatever the case may be. But Marcus says, hey, I'm glad I'm staying partner. We're gonna be partners. Then they do a little banter back and forth. Then of course the pool breaks again. These guys slide into the water, and then of course they end the scene. They end the movie on singing bad boys, what you gonna do?" It's great. This is a movie that I will watch anytime it shows up. Anytime I'm feeling bored. This is a great, exciting movie that give you extra energy. Once again, this has been my review. Stay tuned next week, next Wednesday, right here, same channel's Nerdy's Umbrella. We will have the breakdown of Bad Boys 3, and then this will be leading into Bad Boys 4. So if you like what you're seeing, like, subscribe, share, do all that good old stuff. And the best way that you can support the channel to help us keep putting this good content out is, like I say, grab some of this merch at nerdygshop@4fall.com. And until next time, guys, I'm out. Bye.